Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric Mink, and today we're going to go over the Iran-Philippines game from last night. It was the Philippines' last game in the World Cup. Unfortunately, they lost the game 95-75, I believe, to go 0-5 for the tournament. But one of the major things that came out of that I want to look at is, unfortunately, the Philippines fouled 27 times. And they gave up 32 free throws. I've always said fouling is not a good play. Some people think free throws are the most valuable shot in the game. It's definitely the most efficient shot in the game. So giving up those in the quantity that the Philippines gave up last night is going to really hurt their chances against a good team. And Iran proved to be probably the best Asian team in the World Cup. And there's been a lot of complaining about the officiating. So I wanted to take a closer look at it. This is a problem that the Philippines has had in the past that I have said and I have addressed. But I don't hear a lot of other people saying that. So I want to take a close look. Let's see if the officiating was bad, or maybe that's an area that we should improve on. Let's take a closer look. Philippines versus Iran, the last game for each team here in the World Cup. Iran has won once. The Philippines had not won going into this game. Iran is a team that the Philippines should be very familiar with. They've played against them a number of times. Their main players are Barami and Haddadi. Haven't had a lot of success against them in the past. Let's take a look at the fouls. That's what we're going to put our emphasis on today. First foul, pause it. We'll get a closer look at it. There was a foul call one of the first 3 minutes into the game. Looked like a foul live. Does that look like a foul? Let's take a closer look. Does anyone question if this is a foul? Looks like it's a lot of wrist and a little bit of ball, a lot of wrist there. That is a foul. And a bad habit I think we've gotten into is a lot of complaining. We complain almost after every call, and while sometimes you don't always agree with the officials, it's something that you have to live with, and complaining after the fact doesn't really help. Barami goes in. This was a foul that was called on Gabe Norwood that I thought could have went either way, but right here, if I'm going to say where they called the foul, Gabe's arm, instead of being maybe around the waist where they might not call that, it's very visible up by the chest and shoulder, caught inside of his shooting hand. That's where the foul is. He does lose his balance here, but if I was to say where they called the foul, it was on this right here. This is off a turnover. One of the toughest calls in the game is the block charge call. But as you can see right here, Barocca is clearly moving to his right. He also is hit. The Iran player hits Barocca outside the shoulders. Barocca is sliding to his right, and Barocca does not fall back. This is a block and is actually a good call by the officials. Decent play that Barocca tried to make, but it's a foul. It's an and one. Penalty here, a block call. Just to take a look, you can see right here, the Iranian's player's, his leg is outside of Kiefer's. Again, he's going to hit him outside of the shoulders. In order for this to be a charge, he has to hit him inside the shoulders. Kiefer's feet should be straddling this guy's right leg, but as you can tell, it's not, and obviously there's contact there. We are in the penalty, so we give them free throws in the first quarter of a somewhat close game. At first glance, it doesn't look like a foul. They do call the foul, and on the replay, you can see right here, Japeth coming from behind with his left arm goes over the Iranian player's shoulder, definitely has contact with his shoulder and his arm, and this is where the foul was called. Also, you're going to see Blatch. There's going to be a lot of contact here. Even though he gets ball up here, there was a lot of contact with the body. However, the foul was definitely called on Japeth Aguilar coming from behind over the shoulder with his left arm. Another quick play here, but you're going to be able to see that is a foul. He hits his arm. Again, right here, he hits his arm. That's a foul. This one could have been a play on, but as you're going to see Troy right here acknowledge the foul and say he fouled him. So they're going to call that. Here's another close one. Right here. It does look like Junmar is a big guy. He's 6'10". He's fighting against a guy, Haddadi, who's taller and probably stronger. So it's a war down here. There's a lot of contact that always goes on around here, battling for rebounds. This could have been a no call, but it does look like he is shoving him. And Haddadi started out over here. And you can see Haddadi lands over here. The ball bounced right to. I think there's reason to call a foul here. It looks like an obvious foul. Late coming over. We don't get a closer look at it. This is an obvious foul as well. You're going to see Japeth's right arm already on Haddadi's arm while Perez is swinging with both arms here. I think Perez actually misses him. But you're going to see Japeth already has his right arm here. He's going to swing with his left arm, and there's contact. And he hips him, and he runs into him with his hip, which moves him. It's obviously a foul. We're in penalty here. This is a tough call. This is one you would like to see the officials let go. There wasn't a huge advantage here. And we're in the penalty, unfortunately. There is contact. Kiefer tries to get his hands back. I would have liked to have seen that play on, but the refs called it. This is a call that the referees missed now. We're going in for a layup. It hits the board. Then the Iranian player hits it. Board hits it. Should have been a goaltender. Obvious foul here by Kiefer. Just runs the guy over. We are in penalty. Wasn't a shooting foul, but he gets 2 shots. Foul. Hits him with his hips. Knocks the guy over. Clearly a foul. Barami driving left again. Gabe acknowledges the foul, as you can tell, but Gabe swipes down with both arms. That's a foul. Again, attacking the basket. Take a look at the slow-mo. That is a foul right here. Here's another tough call. Again, if I'm going to say where the contact was, Gabe's arm again is up. Instead of being down here by his waist, it's up in his arm, almost hooking his arm. It's tough to tell who's hooking who here, but Gabe is clearly in the Iranian player's space. I would have liked to seen the referees have this one play on. There was no effect. The ball didn't get loose. There was no real effect on the play, but they called a foul. Another clear foul. That's an and one. Take a look. Junmar fouls him with his right arm on the Iranian player's right arm or shoulder from another angle. You're going to see Blatch also reaches in here. So Blatch is reaching in on this side. Junmar hits him on that side. Clearly a foul. Down here is where the foul is called. Troy Rosario on Barami. This is before the play is inbounded. To me, that's a play on. It ended up being a turnover, but it should have been a play on. An obvious foul here by Andre Blatch going underneath. You're going to see the foul. He's pushing him right here. Continues to push him. It's where the guy lands way over here from where he began. His left hand is there. Push. Foul. I don't really see the foul here. They call it body contact. Another, they attack the basket, foul, Pagoy right here. Here's a play where they screwed up. They actually gave the Philippines the ball when it clearly goes off of Troy Rosario. Iran's fired up about it, but Philippines ball. Blatch again pushes underneath. His hand is on his back right here. Pushes him. Foul. And one. Blatch acknowledges the foul. Here's another one where this isn't clearly a foul. I think Troy's arm there's some body contact here. He also turns into him underneath. I'd say Troy is into his waist and hip area while this guy is going up. So they could have let this one go. Not clearly a foul, but they called it, and I see why they called it. This is where Blatch picks up his 2 technical fouls. At the end of the game's pretty much over. He swears at the referee twice, gets 2 technical fouls, gets thrown out of the game. Yang Gao also picks up a technical foul. These end up in free throws for our opponent. Even though the game was decided, you never like to see that, and those do hurt the team. Technical fouls hurt the team, whether it's from the coach or whether it's from a player. And you don't want to see your naturalized player get thrown, or any player for that matter, get thrown out of the game. Unfortunate. At this point, we're down 27, and that's the game. Okay, so that was most of our fouls in the Iran game. Let's take a quick look at the totals here. Iran fouled 14 times. We fouled 27 times. Iran shot 32 free throws, and we shot 14 free throws, and we lost by 20. Fouling hasn't been too much of a problem for them this tournament, except for this Iran game. Now, it's very easy to always blame the officials, and when you lose, it's amazing how much you think the officials sucked compared to when you win. I try to give you an example there where most of the calls were correct calls. Now, there were some questionable calls that went either way. You saw one time we got the ball when we clearly touched it. There was one time they missed a goaltending call. In every game, there's going to be situations where calls can go either way. That's why I'm of the belief that you should try to limit the obvious fouls as much as you can, because the free throw is the most efficient shot in basketball. Some people think it's the most valuable shot in basketball. And as one of the team's priorities going into every game is get more shots, get better shots, and get more free throws than your opponent. And there's a formula to try to do those things. Well, if you're going to win the free throw battle by 18 because the other team fouled you 27 times, you're going to have a really good chance at winning that game. My philosophy is, and when I was a player, and now that when I'm a coach, I've heard it all. I've heard everyone complain about the officiating. The officials are human beings. They're going to make a few mistakes in the game. We all know this. Just like players are going to make mistakes, just like coaches make mistakes, just like human beings make mistakes, the officials are human beings. They're going to make mistakes. I don't really think the officiating has been horrible this World Cup. I've seen some complaints from Yang Yao claiming that the officials were bad. I know last night there was a lot of complaints that the officials were bad. But the way I look at it is I don't like using that crutch. I don't believe that the world is out to get me, or that the world or the officials are trying to cheat us or trying to hold us down. They're just trying to call a good game. That's what I think, and there's some cases of extreme cases, one way or the other, where maybe officials' mistakes have cost teams games. That certainly has happened. But you know what else hurts teams, costs teams games? Excessive fouling, missing shots, running poor offense, not being disciplined on defense. There's a variety of different things that happen that contribute to a win or a loss, and the officials are just one of those things. So instead of complaining about the officiating after the fact or during a game, realize that mistakes are going to be made and try to limit your fouling so you don't give up 32 free throws to your opponent. That's an area where I think we can improve it. It's an area that has haunted us in the past, excessive fouling. Now, there's a number of reasons why you foul. One is the other team runs good offense, puts you out of position, so you foul. Another reason is the other team is attacking the basket, you get beat, you foul. Now, there's also going to be some times where you don't mean to foul, but you do foul. Fouling is a part of the game, but the goal of your defense should be play the best defense you possibly can with limiting your fouls, so A, the offense has a tough time scoring, and you don't give them excessive free throws where the normal good teams shoot at least 70 to 80%. That's one aspect that is a huge focal point that I put an emphasis on when I coach. When I played, I never liked to get in foul trouble because I like to play. If I'm in foul trouble, my minutes are going to be restricted. This is just one area of the game that I wanted to emphasize, and one area that stood out to me in this Iran game. Unfortunately, things didn't go well. We lost. We went 0-5 in the World Cup. There are 32 teams competing in the World Cup. In Gilas Pilipinas, Team Philippines finished 32nd. Not our ideal finish, but that's the way it worked out. The only thing we can do now is learn from our experience, learn from the mistakes that we made, and figure out and formulate a plan on how to get better. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up like button. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to hit the notification bell. Enjoy the rest of the World Cup. The quarterfinals are coming up, and it should be a very good one. I'm interested to see how Team USA will do. Australia looks tough. Spain just beat Serbia last night. A lot of basketball to be played. I'll be back, hopefully tomorrow, to go over a World Cup summary from the perspective of Gilas Pilipinas. I'll see you then.